Hey, what's going on, friends and family? Thank you so much for tuning in to the channel again. So, a few months back, we had a couple guys on who were explaining all about the reptile enclosure industry. Thought it was a really great panel, super engaging. I enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you're looking for a custom enclosure, I can think of two companies that are phenomenal. I don't want to say head and shoulders above the rest, but they're head and shoulders above the rest. These are two great guys, and I'm really thankful for them to sit down with us to do that. I wanted to break this clip into a smaller, more digestible segment because there was something in there that Dustin brought up, and it was something that we talked about when we were even talking about scheduling this panel. And it's super important. It's something you hear about all the time in the reptile industry, and it's quarantining your reptiles. But you may not know exactly what that means or just how important it is. And Dustin, unfortunately, has a story to share that doesn't have the best ending, but it is a really important lesson. And I'm super grateful that he was able to come onto our panel and discuss it and share that with everyone, because I think it's really valuable for everyone to hear. So without further ado, check it out. Here we are discussing quarantining your reptiles.
That brings me to a next point when you bring up the Pituophis, because you and I had a conversation before, and this is a little bit of a tangent, so it's not specifically on the topic, but I thought it was really important that we wanted to discuss, and you thought it was really in class too. So based on this private conversation, we've all seen gorgeous reptile rooms and stacks of PVC enclosures all along people's walls. Is that the best place to bring a new pet reptile? Basically, what I want to ask is, what's the importance of quarantining reptiles? So we can get all these beautiful cages and set up a reptile room. Just because your room is beautiful doesn't mean you're avoiding very real issues. And I wanted you to talk about that because you said you had some personal experience with that.
Yeah, that's correct. And that was a very hard issue and very costly mistake for me just in the last year. It basically boils down to human nature. So let's say you get you go with stuff, everything goes good. You get a reptile, you get two or three reptiles, you get five. Everything goes fine. There's no issues. With humans, things wear down, things wear off. So that worry about something happening kind of dies off. You're like, well, hell, I got 10 of them now. Everything's fine. Nothing's really going to happen. So that's the place I put myself in. That's the mindset that I got.
Mm-hmm.
I had some good breeders. I was building my bull collection. I kind of done away with the quarantine phase, and it cost me a lot. And it was rare. It's very rare. I went to multiple vets. I spent thousands of dollars, and I babied this one snake for 3 months. Done everything I could do. Done multiple vets, multiple tests, antibiotics. Made it drink water every night, and nobody knew. And it came out. It was one of the toughest viruses you can get. It came out to be crypto, and and it was right in the middle of my rack system. And if it was diagnosed earlier, it might not have been so bad, but nobody knew. The vets couldn't tell me. Nobody could
Mm-hmm.
tell me. So yeah, quarantining is very important. I didn't get the diagnosis until necropsy,
Right.
and I got the diagnosis, and then it was downhill from there. Throwing racks away, cleaning everything, and seeing how many I'm gonna lose.
And how many? I know it's a tough question. How many did you end up losing as a result of that?
Well, luckily, since I am very clean in everything I do, I only lost the ones very adjacent, side to side,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe one or top or below in the rack systems. So I was very lucky there. It came out to be about five bulls in total, but that was
It's
five too many.
terrible.
Yes, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was very bad. But very good learning experience. I mean, I still haven't recovered.
Right.
I still got bulls in tubs and quarantined and going through testing and acquiring new 2020 bulls for this year's season because there's it's a little community, and you don't want to miss out on what you're looking for. So I got them here, I got them there, I got them in my son's bedroom above their bed. I got them everywhere, trying to make things work right now. And but it was a very long, costly, painful process.
Yeah. And so how long after you got the snake did it start showing symptoms?
I would
Roughly,
say,
right?
well, no, not right away. I mean, it was, well, with everything I've learned lately, it can be there and not be active. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that can become active after time. So with this one, it was good for about 3 weeks, and then the food eating started going down and diminishing. It was not interested in eating. It was not interested in drinking water. So like I said, every single night I would go in there and put its head in the water, make it drink, because it was dehydrating. The skin was shrinking. I was trying to hydrate it. Hell, I even tried some stuff that nobody probably ever thought of. Jerry here recommended it. We went to Tractor Supply and got electrolytes, like for goats.
Right.
I tried to do some electrolytes. We done all the antibiotics from the vets, because this don't show up in the regular fecal samples that a vet will test for.
Mm.
It's just not going to show up. They're not going to be able to tell you. And most of them, even though they're reptile vets, the experience is just not there yet with this particular virus. And I don't know. It was a very, like I said, nobody knew what it was until the necropsy done by Texas A&M. And by that time, like I said, that thing had been in my collection for 3-4 months. So, because it seemed with the vet's decisions, it was like, oh, it's nothing really. It might just be, really nothing. They'll get over it. A little virus, a little stomach bug or something, something simple.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned out to be very bad.
Very bad. And you said it started around 3 weeks, and I've heard of cases where it starts much later than that, which I think a lot of us has always heard a varying level of things when it comes to quarantine. Some people say make sure it has proper, make sure it's going to the bathroom, and after a shed you can just put it in with your collection. Or some people say 30 days. And really, I think what that exemplifies is if you weren't paying attention, you might say, oh, it just missed a meal. If it's just starting to show at 3 weeks, because it's probably not starting to look much worse until after that. And it just really goes to show that even if it starts up after that, you really have to be careful. 30, 60, 90 days is probably a much safer quarantine time.
Yeah, the longer the safer. If you got the room, the longer the safer. It's a very hard decision, because speaking with all these experts I've done with now, this thing can lay dormant for a while, a good while.
Like what? What sort of ballpark were they giving you?
I mean, it could be dormant for 6 months, and then become active. And even if you got it tested by the real scientists and all at the universities and all, it might not show up positive because it only sheds intermittently.
Mm-hmm.
The only real way to get a true test is to do a stomach tube lavage, which really stresses your snakes out, and you don't want to do that to them unless you have to. So it's better to send off multiple feces tests, just to clear them and make sure they're good. But it's something, when you learn about it, it's something that's actually very common, not as rare as people think it is. It mainly comes from water sources. People get it. Me and you get it. Me and you get cryptosporidium all the time. It just doesn't affect us in the same ways.
Oh, really?
Like Cryptosporidium serpentis, what they get, which is deadly. Now, they could get another strain of crypto, and it's not deadly to them as a snake, but it would kill a gecko.
Yeah, I think we've all in the past year become somewhat experts on zoonotic transmission and how some things affect some animals and mutate, right? With the way that COVID is alleged come in its developments and all the questions around it. Chris, did you have? It sounded like you were about to say something there.
Yeah, with the one thing that a lot of people miss on quarantine is, let's say I've got a quarantine rack in a separate room, which is the right thing to do. And I put one snake in it. let's say it's April, and I'm going to do a 90-day quarantine. But then May comes along and I go to another reptile show and I get another snake. You have to restart the entire quarantine process again. Everything in that rack needs to go through a full 90 days. In my opinion, 90 days is the right amount. It might be that, you said 60 or 30, some people do. Me personally, I ran a very tight ship on 90 days, and I ended up with 20 rack spaces in quarantine because I bought too much at once.
Because you just keep getting new. That's a good problem to have. And that's, hey, we could
As a
tell.
rack builder, that's not a big problem.
Right. Yeah, it's easy for you. And we should all take advantage of that and really tell our significant others that, listen, we need 2 reptile rooms, one for quarantine, one for the main. So it's not me. I don't need 2 reptile rooms. The animals need it, right? It's only fair. I'm getting a no. So moving on.